So today's video is going to be Outrider update. I think I filmed this field when I was spraying it for Johnson grass, but I mean, y'all can see this is going to be square hay. I don't see basically any. I see one or two little bitty short stalks sticking up, which this stuff you're supposed to do it in a 2-year span. The first year you spray it with initial kill, and then the second year you come back and spray it again. And this place was nearly getting to the point where it was just solid in it. And we come in and sprayed it, and there's the results. I mean, there is none. So I see 1, 2, 3 baby little stalks. So I'll probably have to come back in again next year and hit it again like you're supposed to get it fully killed out. And then that'll last probably for maybe 3 or 4 years before I have to do it again, if I'm lucky. And then we'll have to hit it again with it. Here's another field that I've sprayed. Won't show y'all the whole thing. It goes on back up in there and back down. I think I may have filmed me spraying this one too, but I don't remember. As y'all can see, it's killing it. It hadn't been that long since I sprayed this one. Maybe about 2 weeks maybe since I hit this. But y'all can see it's killing it. I'm going to tell y'all here in just a minute how to, once I get to somewhere where I can park, how to spray this stuff and the different stages you want to spray it at and what works the best in our area. Now I'll say that, but just give me a minute. The Outrider has different stages that you want to spray it at. Spray this Johnson grass at. Now, I know a lot of people's asked me about what does it kill, will it hurt your other grass, will it do different things. I'm going to tell y'all right now and go through everything that I've seen for my area and for us with our weather conditions this year. Now, if it had been a drier year, it may have changed the way that all this turned out, but we've had a lot of rain, so I don't know if that's helped help this stuff or what, or maybe change some of the results some. But going off of what I've experienced this year with this and in my area, now every area is probably going to be a little different, and you may have to change up what you do because it's that way with everything. But in my area, I found that if you can spray it at anywhere from somewhere around 8 inches tall, where it's probably about that tall sticking up, you don't want it knee high, because I'll get into that in a minute, but you want it at 8 inches tall, so that way you get the best kill. Your other grasses hadn't started really coming back yet, because Johnson grass grows so fast after you've cut it one time, or even in the spring. But it grows so much faster than the other grasses, it'll pop up faster. So you want to hit it then, because then this what I'm about to get into, the reason why you don't want it any taller is because if it's taller, say knee high, it will kill it. It'll kill it all, and it'll do a good job killing it. But your stalks at that point with Johnson grass has already started hardening at the bottom, and probably about 6 to 8 inches tall. And when it dies, it takes it longer for the Johnson grass to go away, is basically what I'm saying. For it to rot after it's dead, and for your regular grass just to be there and that completely gone by the time you get ready to cut it again. Now, I ran into that some. When you go through and cut it, you'll have dead Johnson grass stalks, but you don't want that crap in there. It was short dead stalks in there. I mean, you just don't. It's not good good stuff. So that's why I say spray it at 8 inches. If you do shorter than that and it's just starting to come back after you've cut it, I kind of worry with doing that, because I feel like that all of it's not quite established and up yet, because like I said, this stuff only kills what it hits. So if you get it too early, you'll have you'll kill part of it, but then part of it will still not be up from the seeds that fell, and you won't kill it, and it'll come back up through it. So you kind of want to wait long enough to where it's not real tall. Probably 8 inches to foot tall is probably a good place to spray it. I think 8 inches is probably better if you can catch it maybe a week and a half. If you've had a rain after you've cut it, where it's coming back up, and if you stretch the stalks out, they're probably like 8 inches long or whatever. They don't really look that tall when because they're generally laid over a little bit at first. But if you can catch it then, that's the best time to spray it. Now, if you spray it and it's as tall as the booms on your sprayer, it's not going to do as good a job. The stalks aren't going to rot. They'll still be there when you come back through to cut it. And there's a chance that you didn't get all the way down in there and kill the short stuff, and it'll come back up through it. That's what I've had happen on this one field over here. It was so high and so thick that when I sprayed it, evidently the bottom, what was underneath, that was starting to come up in between what was already there, it didn't get to it, and it didn't kill it. It killed everything that was taller, and it looked like it killed it all, but later on it come back up through it. And there's some, it's not nowhere near as much, but there is a few places that looks like it's still pretty decent there. So I'm gonna have to come back through again next year and spray this, which if I see it, that's what I'm gonna do. Now we have a wicker, which I could use, that goes on the front of my Polaris Ranger, which I thought about doing again. The wick systems from here in my area, from what I've found with the one I have, it works better as a maintainer. To basically, if you come in and spray this stuff and you start seeing some that birds have dropped seeds or something somewhere and it's starting to come up, you can ride through and hit it with that wick. The problem with the wick, and the wickers basically have little wicks across the big pipe, and as you drive over this stuff, they rub whatever's tall with Roundup and it'll kill it. Well, the problem is, if you have a real thick infestation of Johnson grass or just big clusters of real thick stuff of it, the wicks will run dry before you get all the way through it, and you have to come back and make multiple passes, and even then sometimes you don't get it all. So with the wickers, you've got to really get your flow right, and you've got to make sure that you get enough on those leaves to where it's killing it. And that's hard to do if you got a whole field full of it. So that's why we went back, because we tried it, and I didn't think that, we bought a small one to try this out with first before we bought a large scale. Now a large scale one may be different. DLH on his channel has one, and I'm kind of interested to see how his bigger one is going to work, because obviously that's the cheapest way to go, because Roundup's not near as expensive as this Outrider and stuff is, and you don't have the effects on the other grasses, which I'll get into in a minute. But with the wickers, I'm interested to see how his will work, because he has the tanks and everything. Mine, you just fill the pipe up with chemicals, and then it rubs it on it as it goes across. Of course, it's a smaller scale one, and it works good if it's not like a huge, like thick thing, or just real thick, heavy, like just constant having to drive through it. It doesn't work really that great at that point. And if you get like a little balls of it coming up in different places, and you can take and put that thing on the front of something and ride out through there and hit those and kill those out before, and just to kind of as a maintainer, so you don't have to spray this stuff like we've got all the time, that's probably a good option for that, because this Outrider is expensive. I mean, it's $300 for 20 acres, and you're supposed to do it 2 years in a row to make sure you get it killed out. But what I do is I spot spray. If I have an area that's got just Johnson grass in it, I'll ride around and hit those spots. But then if I have a giant area with no Johnson grass in it, I'll leave it alone. I'll drive through it and make sure I don't see anything sticking up with the sprayer off, but I won't spray the whole field. And that way, which I'm about to get into, you don't have the damage on some of your grasses from that stuff. Now this stuff, it will stunt everything. I haven't seen anything yet that it won't stunt. It will stunt everything. This is what I've seen this year with our amount of rainfall. For 2 weeks. 2 weeks, generally it'll stun it, and you'll see everything just kind of stop. It won't brown, or the tips will turn. It'll be burnt a little bit on the end, but your grass won't turn brown. It'll look nearly just like it did, but it'll just freeze. It won't grow any. It won't do nothing for about 2 weeks, and then after the 2 weeks, the hay will go back growing again. Now, the fields that we've cut so far, which we haven't cut many, and I think we've cut about 3 fields into our second cut, which, I mean, we're just 3 or 4. I mean, we're just getting started. I mean, we've got a lot of hay left to cut in our second cut. I mean, we've basically just started on second cut. So, for those fields that we have cut, our yields have actually improved. Now, I know a lot of that's probably that fertilizer we put down. I figured that it would probably start showing up more in the second cut than it was in the first. But the yields have been better than they were in the first. So I can't really say that it's going to hurt your yields, but it will stunt your grass for 2 weeks and slow you down that much more. But from what I've seen, it will, and that's everything. Fescue, Bermuda, crabgrass, just any kind of grass that we've got here, I've seen it's done it with it. But I mean, it is a strong chemical, and that's the only way you're going to kill that Johnson grass. I mean, the only other option is Roundup. And like I've said before, you can round up your whole field, plow it up, and the darn stuff will come right back the next year. Resow it, whatever. You'll start seeing little pods of it sticking up everywhere. But there's really no good solution. Even when you do this Outrider, you may get it killed out for a little while, and it'll knock it back. But if you don't stay on top of it and keep it killed out, it's going to come back. I mean, the birds and different animals and stuff eat the Johnson grass seeds or whatever, or it blows through the wind from your neighbor's farm right over into yours, and you're going to get it again. I mean, that's just or we carry it on our equipment when we go from one field to the other, and you can pressure wash it, clean it, to do whatever you want. There'll still be somehow or another seeds will transfer off that equipment, because you can't get it all from one field to the next. And I mean, ultimately, if say we sprayed it this year and we have a field like this one across the road that might come up with 1 or 2 stalks in there like that one I just showed, I'm probably just going to go back with a sprayer and some Roundup or that Wick bar, hit them, kill them next spring. Try not to spray it again if I don't have to. Hope that I can get by another 2 or 3 years before it gets to the point it was at this year, and we have to go back and spray this Outrider again. I mean, ultimately, that's what the reality of it is. I mean, that's what you're going to be dealing with if you got that stuff. But it does affect all grasses. Trying to think. But the Wick bars, I don't know about the bigger ones, but there's a fine line with the flow. If you get too much flow with a Wick bar, you can kill everything because it is Roundup. And if you don't get enough, you're not going to kill enough. And when you're wicking Johnson grass, from what my experience was, I nearly need to get the thing out so I can make a video on it. If you get enough on it, the leaves will turn brown first. Now the bottom of your stalks on your Johnson grass is going to turn yellow, even no matter what you do. I mean, once it gets so tall, it starts turning yellow as it goes up. But the leaves is what I always looked at, is if they start turning yellow and purple, then you know you've killed it. It may take it a while, but it'll die. Depending on how much you got on it. But it won't survive. It'll just die out. Or it'll stun it, and it won't grow no more, and it will never get to the seed out point. But it's a nightmare. We've tried grazing cattle on it. We've tried everything, and nothing works. Just like this field behind my grandpa's house here. We have never cut this, or we haven't cut this field for hay probably 10 years. There's been cattle on that thing for that long. After the first cut that we got off of it, when Johnson grass started coming up later in the spring, because we cut it early spring, Johnson grass starts coming up all over it, the whole entire field. We had not even seen hardly any Johnson grass coming up in fields yet at that time, and it was already coming up over the whole field. Why? There's been cattle on it that's kept that stuff grazed down so it couldn't seed out. Nothing. It's the birds. I mean, it's literally in the birds. Or if you're feeding hay that has Johnson grass in it, it gets in the cow manure, and then the cows go and take a dump out in the pasture during the winter time, and it spreads that way. And it's just, it spreads through every form. It got through cattle, through their digestive system, birds, same thing, or carrying it, equipment. It's endless. There's just no real way to prevent it from getting in your field. It's just preventing it from getting too far gone. And the Outrider is a solution for once it's gotten so far that you can't maintain it by riding over and spraying it with a wand tank with a Roundup or using a Wick bar. Then you go get you some Outrider and you spray your field and you get rid of it again for a while, and then you have to start the whole maintaining, trying to keep it beat back for as long as you can. It's just a nightmare. I mean, it's an absolute nightmare. But I've rambled on long enough about this. Thanks for watching. Please comment, rate, subscribe. If you have any questions on it, on something I really didn't touch on enough, put it in the comments. I'll try to answer them the best I can. But I mean, it's hard to get everything that's went on with this stuff in one video without it being so long that nobody's gonna want to watch it. So thanks for watching. I mean, right now it's raining every day. It's rained all last week, every day but one day. And this week they're saying rain every day again. So that's just what I mean. I'm working on equipment. The Marless, I guess y'all have probably seen the finished video by now, but today I'm buttoning it up, and it's done, thank God. But thanks for watching. See y'all later. Please comment, rate, subscribe.